This outfit right here, this is what Musa could have worn. And it would have been so much better. Anyways, hello again, friends. As you may remember, a few months back, I did composite sketches showing how I would style the 5 main characters of Winx Club from season 1. And I actually did get requests to do a part 2, even though that video was super rushed and I actually kind of want to remake it. But for now, here's part 2. Just to catch you up on the concept, I'm going to be doing composite sketches for these characters and basically styling them as I would if I were, for some godforsaken reason, given the head costumer position for this project. But we're gonna jump back in and I'm gonna be giving myself way too much power again over the lore and the casting and everything else like that because, you know, this is fun. And now it only makes sense to start with Layla or Aisha or whatever they decided to name her where you live. Now, Layla is a black fairy, and honestly, the world needs more of those. She's hardworking and persistent. She can do impossible feats of strength and endurance, but she is not afraid to cry while doing it. She has a really good balance of traditional feminine elements with some like full-on badass sprinkled in there.
I've always loved Aisha's civilian or casual outfits. I think she's got a really great sense of style as a character. Her tank top here is going to be a muted green and pink, which is going to be in a micro stripe. Those are really cool right now, and they were really cool in Y2K, so it's going to give us the right flavor of nostalgia. We're going to give her waste paper basket shorts. Basically, I'm just going to make them look like her cargo skirt, but in a short form, because I feel like realistically that would be a little bit easier to move around in and live your life in. And now for her shoes. We're gonna go with docks and pink socks because this will give us a softness and a tough military vibe simultaneously. And Layla has always had that Cadet Kelly military but make it soft and fluffy thing going on for her. Now, one detail that I think would be really fun for Layla's transformation would be if there was like a glow coming from her waist. And then she would have like some awesome Nigerian-inspired waist beads in her transformation form, and they would like form around her, and then the chiffon wrapping pieces would sprout out and also wrap around her. I think that would just be really, really fun.
And yes, traditionally waist beads are only worn to be seen for your husband, and it has implications if someone has them showing out in the rest of the world. And let's be honest, half of the fairies are already wearing elements that if we saw on someone, you know, out walking about today, we would probably think they're a prostitute. So it kind of makes sense. I'm going to link some articles on Nigerian Tomo that I found. That's the waist beads. I think that the green waist beads really suit her character because they're largely associated with water and sympathy and adaptability, growth, and envy, which are kind of par of the course for Aisha, and I wonder if they didn't look up color coding and symbolism and meaning in Nigeria when they gave her the color green, because it really works on multiple levels.
In her fairy form outfit, I want to keep the chiffon woven throughout the top and the tie skirt. I want that to stay and keep that nice wavy edge at the bottom, possibly with some darts to shape it and make it really wavy in the hem, just because, like, she's the freaking fairy of the waves. Silver jewelry instead of blue because this is a grown-up live action, guys. We gotta take it seriously. And her shoes. She doesn't really give me Kinky Boots vibes as a character. She never has. So she's gonna get these, like, green Gladiator Esmeraldas sandals, which I think will look really nice. Also, Aisha's hair is honestly goals. Like, I see the braided front bits everywhere, and admittedly, I've been doing them myself.
Now next, we're gonna do the Trix. I think that it was a huge mistake to turn them into just one character. Smooshing them, it just doesn't work as well. You lose a lot of the dynamic. Beatrix is a fun pun, but no, it's not working for me. The best part of the Trix really was their dynamic with each other and the way that they would lash out at other people in slightly different ways. They were a good example of toxic female friendship, whereas you have the foil of the Winx that are healthy and fun and nice. It really just worked. It was peak filmmaking. Peak storytelling. Bloom and Icy are obviously foils for each other, you know, they're fire and ice, and that's really fun to play with. But where Bloom is open and vulnerable with her friends, Icy is closed off and held in. And their hair really expresses this as well. Bloom has this open, flowing hair, and Icy has this slicked up dominatrix ponytail. The Trix all have that motif of the widow's peak, but I decided to play with the lore a little bit and make them like found sisters, like adopted sisters who adopted each other instead of them being biological sisters. I think that really adds to the toxicity of their relationship. Kind of like, you know, those friend groups you see where everyone lumps together and like latches on and doesn't ever go outside of their friend group even though it's super unhealthy in there. Kind of like that is the vibe I'm going for here. But because of that, I'm gonna give a widow's peak to Icy, and then I'm going to still have that V shape in the other two's hair, but not necessarily the same hairline like is done in the cartoon. Now, Icy is a mean person. She's mean to her sisters, she's mean to the Winx, she's even mean to Veltor. She's just constantly lashing out and trying to push everybody around her down so that she looks good. So while she is getting a darker look, I kind of want to give it Christian Girl Autumn vibes. You know, because like, I feel like it reads to everyone as really fake.
Keeping her color scheme very, very similar to her original, just so that she's recognizable at a glance, and keeping, of course, that iconic hairstyle, I'm giving her a mom cardigan, a V-neck, skinny jeans, and a silver and white choker.
These kinds of necklaces were used as a form of jugular protection in Native American regalia and armor, and I think that while this character is white, that wanting to have your neck covered and protected will still read through the costume. Kind of give you a peek at how vulnerable she feels, that she needs to be wearing like armor at all times.
And yes, large parts of my design are a huge deviation from her original outfit, but honestly, I think her original outfit just looks like Stella's transformation but colored in differently.
Maybe if she was at a party or something, we would bring this look back from the dead, but I think it needs to stay dead.
This looks a lot less out of place for a girl who is attending school and needs to be a little bit more mature looking for an adult audience.
Now, her witch bitch outfit. I think it would have been really cool if like when she transformed, the chains like popped out of the center of her collar and like enveloped around her waist to symbolize how like trapped in herself and her own actions she is. Like to have this magical girl transformation but make it really heavy and dark, you know? I think that would have been fun. All of the Trix have their initial on their belly, and I think that this looks really cheap and cheesy, and I really don't like it, so I'm going to change that to instead be, you know, like the ice diamonds that would say your name that everyone wore in the early 2000s? They're gonna have those like incorporated into the chain jewelry that they're wearing somewhere. Kind of like a friendship bracelet, but toxic.
For real though, no one I knew who had those little diamond friendship bracelets as a kid is okay now. Like, that is a relationship red flag if ever I saw one. Which is good, because these girls are supposed to be chock full of red flags. So the plan is a leotard and opaque tights instead of a jumpsuit, and of course her knee-high boots, and we have to keep her gloves. And of course we gotta keep the hair cone, but I did make it a little bit more realistic and tone it down a tiny bit. And of course, to drive home the witch vibes, we are keeping her dark blue cape, and it'll kind of match and go with her silhouette that she has in her casual outfit created by the mom cardigan. Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss.
Now let's do Stormy. Stormy is my favorite, and I have definitely had a lot of fun with her. I've made her short, like really short, because petite actors need work too. And I think that like the angry short girl trope is really fun to play with. And while Icy is the girl boss, Stormy is like intense with confidence and feistiness. And I think that like commenting on her height would just like make her go off, and that would be really fun to play with.
She's gonna have Vans in her casual outfit and slouchy dark pink socks that come up a bit, you know, almost to the mid-calf. I think that's a good look. And we're giving her a micro mini skirt and DIYing some safety pins and little studs into it. And these skirts would have to be made in-house and matching distressing for 2 of 3 of them for film continuity every time we change scenes. And that would be a pain to do, but a pain worth going through, in my opinion. She's also getting a black halter top with strappy, belty straps because Stormy is bad and she wants everyone to know. And I kind of want her to have that, like, baby doll that wants to stab you thing going. That feels like a very Stormy vibe to me. And I think I kind of wound up basing her whole vibe off of my friend Zoe, who sat in front of me in psych class, but Zoe's actually a really good person and not a murderous, power-hungry witch.
So, I made Stormy biracial because hair just does not do that on its own. I never realized that she was supposed to be white until I read her wiki, and I realized that the Trix were actually meant to be biological sisters. Maybe she was a half-sister?
Because, like I said, hair like that does not just happen on its own.
Now, her witchy clothes. These freaking shoes. I want to put her in platforms. 8-inch platforms. So that like whenever the 3 Trix are like standing together, she'll be the same height when she's in her witch form, but like all the bottom, like a whole like shin's worth of leg practically is just her boots. And with storm powers, she's not going to be doing much hand-to-hand combat, so she'll be fine being a little bit wobbly or a little bit easier to knock over.
But as far as her actual clothes go, we're gonna keep the micro mini dress, and she's gonna get a charm that says Stormy on the zipper, right up by her neck. I'm picturing this dress being made of like that super hyper shiny latex polyvinyl type material. You know, there's a lot of materials in that bubble. I guess whatever wound up working. Because latex allergies are a thing, as well as budget restrictions. And as you can see, I'm still keeping the chain motif. I just put them on around her waist. Very, very similar to the way that she has them in the original animation. I think with character design and costume design, the thing to keep in mind, especially with like an adaptation of a previously existing character, is like, if you were to completely squint and barely be able to see the character, how would you know it was them, right? And for Stormy here, the answer is the silhouette of her hair and the red color.
Last but not least, we have Darcy. Now, Icy has ice powers, duh, and Stormy has storm powers, again, duh, but like she's the only one with a normal sounding name. So that means that she's the redeemable one, right? Absolutely not. No, Darcy is the brains behind everything, okay? She's like actually the worst. And like the physical absence of light, sure, that's darkness, but she also has the power of like manipulating people's thoughts and emotions so that she can control them. Ick. Her original look is pretty good. I like the shape of the choker halter, so we're gonna keep that, making it dark purple. So we would probably have to dye that in-house. And given the fact that this is for film and we would need like 3 of them, probably take the 3 layers of fabric and stack them and maybe try to tie-dye them at once so that then it would be as consistent as possible between takes. Be a fun challenge.
So she's getting flared pants and a dark purple, and we're keeping the light purple gusset that makes them flared. I like this idea that the Trix have to DIY their own clothes, because I vaguely remember there being a discussion around classism using the Trix in all of Cloud Tower. Like, the Trix always reference their background, their family background, that they come from a line of ancestral witches, and even if they're found family, I think that would still be a fun piece of lore to keep in. And the thing is, Cloud Tower, in the first season, it's always portrayed as this evil place full of evil witches and everyone there is horrible and evil, because, you know, that's the Winx perception of it. Also, to a certain degree, the writers didn't know where they were going yet, but that's beside the point. But mainly, as the series progresses, you find out that no, every witch is not the villain. Some witches are villains, just like some fairies are evil, but for the most part, this is just a different way of life. And I think that that's a really fun way to either discuss classism, because the fairies tend to be wealthy and in royal families, but it also could be a fun way of discussing like cultural differences, because like I said, the witches have a totally different approach on how they handle magic and how they do basically everything. I don't know. Rant over. That's just my 2 cents on it. I think it's fun. I'm gonna stop being a nerd now. Now for Darcy, I really like giving her the motif of pants. You know, she gives me pants vibes. In the comics, she has, you know, the flared pants in her jumpsuit, she has the flared pants in her casual wear, and I really think that that works for her as a character. And if something isn't broke, why fix it? And honestly, the purple jumpsuit really works for her. I am going to add some fun little cutouts and things like that so she can show some skin and, you know, maybe be a little bit sassy. And just like Stormy's mini dress, I think that this would also be made out of like a really highly reflective and solid material, like a polyvinyl or a latex. She's still gonna get her gloves. I think that they really do a lot for explaining her character, that she's afraid of, you know, intimacy. That's a trope that's used a lot around gloves, and I think it's really true for her. You can see in the way that she pursues relationships, she has to have an element of manipulation, and she has a lot of walls and she's very guarded, so I think the gloves really work for her. And I would also really like to see in her witch transformation extensions that go to her ankle. That probably gets really expensive, but like I feel like the CGI department could handle that, right? The CGI hair could potentially look really janky.
But like, Doctor Strange has that CGI cape, so I feel like anything is really possible.
We stan a toxic queen in this house.
Okay, now I really love the way that the Trix came out, so I want to do one final thing.
Remember how I said that maybe Icy would wear that outfit if she was going to a party? Well, I was having a lot of fun, so I decided to do one last little sketch. This isn't really a proper outfit composite, this is just what I thought the Trix would wear if they were going to a party. Icy is wearing a knockoff Stella skirt and a crop top that mimics her original. It's basically the Maris bralette from Madeline, and then we're taking a nod from Stormy's original outfit, and we turned it into a really cute party dress with these cute little like wraparound croppy toppy details. Also, she's sitting on a little silver mushroom chair. Don't question it, it's really cute. I feel like the nightclubs in Magix would totally have stainless steel mushroom chairs. That would be a thing. And for Darcy, she's got like a lace or chiffon billowy black coat and some cutoff shorts and a tank top. She kind of gives me like hippie vibes, but in a super ominous way. Like she's a hippie and she probably smells like patchouli, but she is definitely not all about peace and love. Iconic. Now, of course, if the Trix were to go to a party, they would 100% be planning to do some kind of mischief, probably with Riven.
Oh, and speaking of Riven, I forgot the specialists, but man, this video is really long. Maybe I should just do the specialists in a separate video? But I really had a lot of fun with this, and I'm having a lot of fun with the specialists. I'm not completely done with their designs yet, because I really want to take my time. I don't get to design armor very often, so I really want to play with this and really give it some love. Anyways, thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. Thank you to everyone who likes and comments. It really helps out the channel. I'm a pretty small channel, so it makes a really big splash if you share, or if you like, or if you comment, or subscribe, and I really do appreciate all of you. Because some of y'all leave like full novels in my comments description, and I read every comment, at least I try to, and I really do enjoy seeing your thoughts and opinions and interests and like where you're coming from when you look at things. It's really cool for me. It also just makes me really happy that people care about this show still. Like I've said, it was a core part of my childhood and my relationships with my friends when I was younger. But like I said, thank you for watching, and please give this video a like if you liked it so that more awesome people like you can see it. My Ko-fi and links to my other social medias are always in my description, and you can consider yourself officially welcomed to subscribe. That's all from me, guys. I'll see you later. Bye, friends!
Whoops, I forgot to do cozy promo. This upcoming weekend, the Costume Symposium is happening. It's going to be a 100% free online costume conference for all lovers of costume, whether that be the fantastical side or the historic side. The pictures that I'm showing you right now are our wonderful badge fairies. That's all of the people who will be working on the back end to assign the badges that you will earn throughout the event to you. It's going to be super fun, and we've all worked really, really hard, so if you have time and would like to, I hope that you stop by and enjoy the weekend with us. Okay, bye for real!